He walked among the poor before he ever walked in the Vatican, chose the bus over the limousine, cooked his own meals, and washed the feet of prisoners and refugees. But how did Jorge Mario Bergoglio, a boy from Buenos Aires with one lung, rise to become the most humble and revolutionary pope in modern history? This is not just the story of Pope Francis, it's the story of hope, humility, and a fearless voice in a divided world. Humble beginnings. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was born on December 17, 1936, in a modest neighborhood of Buenos Aires, Argentina, to Italian immigrants who had fled fascism and found refuge in South America. A hard-working family, grounded in faith, humility, and simplicity. As a young boy, he faced illness and even had part of his lung removed, yet his spirit never weakened. Instead, he grew more reflective, more curious, and deeply compassionate toward the suffering of others around him. He was drawn not to power or wealth, but to service, helping his grandmother, listening to the pain of strangers, and finding joy in small acts of kindness. Calling to the priesthood. Though he once worked as a chemical technician and even had a girlfriend in his youth, Jorge's heart pulled him toward a greater calling, the church. At the age of 21, he entered the Society of Jesus, becoming a Jesuit, known for their deep commitment to education, missionary work, and serving the poor. As a Jesuit, he embraced the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, but most powerfully, the vow of humility. His journey was not without struggle. He was seen as strict at times, but always sincere, and his leadership grew through crisis, challenge, and quiet conviction. Trials and transformation. During Argentina's brutal military dictatorship, Father Bergoglio walked a dangerous line, protecting human rights while trying not to draw deadly attention from the regime. He was later criticized and misunderstood, but time and testimony revealed a man who secretly sheltered the persecuted, negotiated mercy, and carried a quiet burden of moral responsibility. These years transformed him. He became more merciful, more centered on forgiveness and social justice. Rise to Archbishop and Cardinal. In 1998, he became Archbishop of Buenos Aires, and unlike many in positions of high power, he refused the Archbishop's mansion, choosing instead to live in a small apartment, take public transit, and minister personally to the poor, the addicts, and the homeless. When he was made a cardinal in 2001, he did not see it as a promotion but a deeper burden to serve, a call to carry the cross with those forgotten by the world. The unexpected Pope. The world watched in shock in 2013 when Pope Benedict XVI resigned, the first resignation of a pope in nearly 600 years. And from this historic moment rose an even greater surprise. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was elected pope, taking the name Francis, the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, and the first to choose a name inspired by St. Francis of Assisi, the saint of the poor. And so began a new era. The people's pope. From the moment he stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and bowed before the people, asking for their blessing before giving his own, Pope Francis broke tradition and began a papacy rooted in humility, compassion, and global conscience. He refused the luxurious papal apartments, chose modest cars, embraced outcasts, kissed lepers, and opened the Vatican to the homeless at night. He washed the feet of Muslims, women, prisoners. He spoke truth to power, challenged global leaders, and called for urgent action on climate change, inequality, and corruption. Global impact and controversies. Pope Francis has been praised for his courage, but not without criticism. Traditionalists saw his openness as too liberal, while progressives wanted even faster reform. He faced backlash over handling abuse scandals, though he later established stronger accountability systems and apologized publicly to victims. Yet his message has remained clear. Mercy is not weakness. and silence is not peace. The reformer, Francis, has reshaped the Vatican bureaucracy, pushed for interfaith dialogue, supported civil unions for same-sex couples, and opened deeper discussions on the role of women in the Church. He often speaks directly to young people, urging them to make good trouble, to resist digital isolation, and to fight for justice, love, and truth in a world consumed by noise. Legacy in the making. More than a decade into his papacy, Pope Francis remains a symbol of spiritual leadership in a chaotic time, offering not dogma but dialogue, not condemnation but compassion. He may be an old man with a gentle smile, but his voice has shaken world leaders, empowered the poor, and reminded millions that faith without love is empty. A pope like no other. He is not just a pope. He is a shepherd, a servant, a symbol of hope. His life reminds us that greatness comes not from titles or power, but from choosing love over judgment, walking with the broken, and never forgetting the dignity of the least among us. This is the story of Pope Francis, the people's pope, the voice of conscience, the heart of the Church. Inspirational quote from Pope Francis: "A little bit of mercy makes the world less cold and more just." Pope Francis,